the front line through the battles and the pains, with a camera in the fray and the world on our screens. We're the voice of the silence, the witness of the scenes. Headlines flashing bright from the shadows we arise, with the truth in our hands under perilous skies. Every story told is a battle we fight, through the darkness and the fear we bring the light. In the chaos, in the flames, we'll stand tall, with the courage to reveal through the rise and the fall. From the embers of the war to the echoes of the call, we're the eyes of the world and we'll never stall. KLW, we're the warriors on the front lines, through the blood and the fire we'll define the times. In the heat of the battle where the truth aligns, we're the voice of the war and we'll fight.
4, 3, 5, 5, 4, 3, 5, 5. India, 4, Alpha, Foxtrot, Whiskey, Romeo, stand by. India, 4, Alpha, Foxtrot, Whiskey, Romeo, stand by. India, 4, Alpha, Foxtrot, Whiskey, Romeo, stand by. Message follows. India, 4, Alpha, Foxtrot, Whiskey, Romeo, Sierra, 3, Zulu, Quebec, Tango, 6, Golf, India, 7, Bravo, Alpha, 5, Tango, Delta, Mike, Whiskey, Lima, 2, Mike, 2, Bravo, Charlie, Uniform, Bravo. I say again, 4, accurate, 5, 5, 4, accurate, 5, 5. India, 4, Alpha, Foxtrot, Whiskey, Romeo, Sierra, 3, Zulu, Quebec, Tango, 6, Golf, India, 7, Bravo, Alpha, 5, Tango, Delta, Mike, Whiskey, Lima, 2, Mike, 2, Bravo, Charlie, Uniform, Bravo. This is Weedy out.
on the front line through the battles and the pains, with a camera in the fray and the world on our screens. We're the voice of the silence, the witness of the scenes. Headlines flashing bright from the shadows we arise, with the truth in our hands under perilous skies. Every story told is a battle we fight, through the darkness and the fear we bring the light. In the chaos, in the flames, we'll stand tall, with the courage to reveal through the rise and the fall. From the embers of the war to the echoes of the call, we're the eyes of the world and we'll never stall. In the heat of
Taking out.
In the heart of the storm where the chaos reigns, KLW's on the front line through the battles and the pains, with a camera in the fray and the world on our screens. We're the voice of the silence, the witness of the scenes. Headlines flashing bright from the shadows we arise, with the truth in our hands under perilous skies. Every story told is a battle we fight. Through the darkness and the fear, we bring the light. In the chaos, in the flames, we'll stand tall, with the courage to reveal through the rise and the fall. From the embers of the war to the echoes of the call, we're the eyes of the world and we'll never stall. KLW, we're the warriors on the front lines. Through the blood and the fire, we'll define the times. In the heat of the battle, where the truth aligns, we're the voice of the war and the world will find. From the ruins and the wreckage, every story's told. Through the tears and the heartbreak, the bravery unfolds. In the darkest hours, when the world's torn apart, KLW brings the stories straight from the heart. With the cameras rolling through the wreckage and the pain, we capture the reality while the world remains. Every angle, every moment in the line of fire, we're the pulse of the battlefield, never to tire. KLW, we're the warriors on the front lines. Through the blood and the fire, we'll define the times. In the heat of the battle, where the truth aligns, we're the voice of the war and the world will find. KLW, we're the warriors on the front lines. Through the blood and the fire, we'll define the times. In the heat of the battle, where the truth aligns, we're the voice of the war and the world will find. Through the smoke and the ruins, we'll pierce the veil. With every breath we take and every tale, we're the heartbeat of the conflict in the shadowed frail. With KLW's vision, the truth won't fail. Stand firm, we're the beacon in the fray. Through the dust and the fury, we'll light the way. In the fight for the truth, where the heroes lay. KLW, the story's here to stay. KLW, we're the warriors on the front lines. Through the blood and the fire, we'll define the times. In the heat of the battle, where the truth aligns, we're the voice of the war and the world will find. So here's to the courage and the tales we unfold. In the heart of the conflict, our story's told. KLW, with the truth we hold. In the fire of the war, our legacy bold.
You can't handle the truth!
Hold on. Stand by. All right, so let me try to get this up and going here for you. For some reason, this is not even showing up. Why did this not show up? That's interesting. Hold on. I got to go back and fix this, guys. Hold on. Streaming to the wrong place. All right, now we're going to the right place. All right, let me get started over again now that we actually have both streams going to the right places at the same time. So what we're seeing here is a concentrated surveillance effort of Forte 10. Now, the interesting part about this is you see all these passes right here. Right here is where the two largest S-400 missile sites are in the world. There are more S-400 missiles.
For clarification purposes, I meant your...
Okay, sorry about that. I'm getting folks contacting me from all over in regards to this, because this is a big deal. So we have talked about So we have talked about this in the past. This is the Suwalki Gap. This is the most vulnerable piece of territory in all of the world. The Russians have massive forces built up in Kaliningrad. They also have massive forces built up in Belarus. Also, for all of you on this one here, so for all of you on the chat that I just put, please go to the link at the top. Stinner 76, we're on a different channel, and that link is at the top of the chat. So go to the link at the top of the chat. For all of you that are in this chat, you need to go to the link at the top of the chat. This is now our secondary channel that you're on there. You guys stay where you're at. All right, so what we are seeing here is that Forte 10. This is a high altitude surveillance aircraft. It has been operating over Poland all night. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put a playback on this, and we're going to go way back, because what we want to see is, oh, see, they're not even showing the pattern doing that. This was the original search pattern right here. So let's go back and see how far back they go. Let's see if they'll make this accurate. So this is what it did all day yesterday. Okay. So you're seeing it there. And it went up into Lithuania. So it's been there all night. See that? All night long it's been there. And it's still there now. So there's a real issue with what's going on. And this is where the S-400 sites are, right here. They're right in this area right here, right outside of Hradna. And as you can see, that is taking a very close look at that. And they're still there right now. All right, so we've got radio checks coming out from Sigonella. We've got radio checks coming out from a variety of other locations as well. Also, the Iranians are not really doing what they said they were going to do. In addition to that, you can see on the primary news channel, those of you who are on the channel that you need to leave, you're not seeing this, but you're going to hear it. We have had surveillance aircraft, Black Cat 6, up over the Caribbean just north of Venezuela. And that's been going on for hours overnight as well. Plus, we've had a P-8 that was operating over the Strait of Hormuz. I'm going to show you that here as well. Now, the interesting part about this P-8 operating over the Strait of Hormuz, and again, if you are on the new news channel, you'll be seeing this. If you're on the old news channel, you won't. So there's 36 people who aren't seeing this right now. Everybody needs to So you can see this P-8 is turning around here and turning around here. This is the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, I've been watching this for years, and I have never seen a P-8 specifically only patrolling the Strait of Hormuz. They are not going anywhere but the Strait of Hormuz, and that's because they have concerns that the Iranians are going to try to do something stupid in the Strait of Hormuz. So they're going to continue to track that. So there's a lot of ISR going on. There's a lot of radio traffic going on. There is some folks in Europe who are highly concerned about what's going on. In fact, at the beginning of this broadcast, I got a phone call from Europe about this exact aircraft and what my thoughts on this aircraft were. That's why I had to interrupt the broadcast for a moment while I took that call. So this is very concerning here, what we're seeing right here. This Forte 10 operating over the northeast corner of Poland. And so this is enough to get people from Europe calling me. And I'm not talking about regular people. I'm talking about government officials. So this is definitely concerning. All right, so let's see what else we've got here. Let's see how we're doing. If we've got the people coming in over here. Yeah, everybody needs to get hooked up here. Yeah, if you're hearing my voice, subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to this channel. This is the one you need to be a member of. This is the one you need to sign up. Get hooked up over here. So I'll get into all the detail here, guys. I'm trying to get everybody from the other channel over here. Yes. There is reason to be concerned that once the U.S. kicks off in the Baltics, or excuse me, that the U.S. kicks off in Iran, that the Russians may do something with the Suwalki Gap. That there is legitimate concern for that. And it appears as though the U.S. may be concerned about that right now as well. Welcome aboard. What's next? So we're going to get into all of that. We're going to answer all your questions. So we're going to be answering your questions. So everybody needs to get hooked up over here. Everybody needs to become a member. It's only $3 a month or whatever it is. So go to the bottom and get hooked up. This is our new primary channel. This is where we're going to be doing all of our news coverage from. At least, well, I want to make this permanently our news channel. This is going to be our #1 news channel from here on out. So please get signed up here. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel, following this channel. Get all notifications on this channel. This is the one that you need to be on. All right, folks. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm trying to get everybody over here where they need to be. I'm not going to say it's as bad as herding cats, but we're not shutting the other one down. It's not going to be our primary news channel. This is going to be our primary news channel. So everybody needs to get signed up over here. Yeah, I need everybody set up on this channel. If you can hear my voice, this is the channel you need to be set up on. So we're going to continue to monitor this. We're going to monitor this. We're going to monitor this. Basically, we're going to monitor all of this. And we're going to start answering your questions. So, is there a concern that the Russians could attack across the Suwalki Gap if the U.S. attacks Iran? And yes, that is a very, very real concern. So a lot of people are worried about that, not just us. There are folks in Poland, Lithuania, all along the Baltics who are concerned with that. And do they have a right to be concerned? You bet your life they do. This is a bad. See, this is the problem. And we knew that this was going to be a problem because BRICS is all the people who are basically communists, is what BRICS is. So the Russians, the Chinese, the North Koreans, the Iranians, and all of these other countries that are part of BRICS, they are a group that wants to fight the West. And so they're trying to fight the West in any way, shape, or form. Will they take Gotland Island? Yes, there is a good chance they will take Gotland Island. And we're going to be doing some flying in the simulator to show Gotland Island, to show where the airfields are on Gotland Island. BMC Noble Team 1 pass from heart failure. All right, sorry to hear that, buddy. All right, thank you, Mom. Welcome aboard, Ann. We've been looking forward to having you here. All right, I appreciate it, darting around. Thank you very much. I don't know if we're going to see Boom 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 today, but
Bomb, 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 Iran.
that is the plan. Well, they have been building up next to Finland and Norway. That's also very concerning. Is the fact that they have been building up along the border there. They have opened up yet another military base there that was closed years ago, but it is open right now. All right, so this is very, again, at the least, this is very, very, very concerning. So if you guys have questions for me, put them in the chat. I'm going to try to drink my coffee because I hate cold coffee.
All stations, this is we break, Lima, Quebec, Whiskey, Bravo, Charlie, Hotel, standby, Lima, Quebec, Whiskey, Bravo, Charlie, Hotel, standby, Lima, Quebec, Whiskey, Bravo, Charlie, Lima, Quebec, Whiskey, Bravo, Charlie, Hotel, 3, Sierra, Zulu, Charlie, Juliet, India, Echo, India, Echo, Alpha, Yankee, Charlie, Tango, Juliet, Papa, Papa, India, 3, Yankee, Hotel, Quebec, Tango, Papa, Juliet, I say again, Lima, Quebec, Whiskey, Bravo, Charlie, Hotel, 3, Sierra, Zulu, Charlie, Juliet, India, Echo, India, Echo, Alpha, Yankee, Charlie, Tango, Juliet, Papa, Papa, India, 3, Yankee, Hotel, Quebec, Tango, Papa, Juliet, read it out.
All right, so as you can see, the EAMs are starting to come out again, hot and heavy. That's the second one we've had here just since I started this broadcast. So, Woodchuck, the reason we're worried about Poland is because the Russians, and we're not worried about Poland specifically, we're worried about Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. The Russians have been moving thousands and thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of troops in total towards the border with NATO. They've been moving in weapons, missile systems, opening up new military bases. And so there is the concern that the Russians may attack across the Suwalki Gap if the U.S. attacks Iran. And so the Russians have been moving more equipment into the area and opening new military bases in the area. And so the concern is in Europe, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Poland, Germany, all kinds of places over there near the Baltics are concerned that the Russians will attack the Suwalki Gap if the U.S. attacks Iran. I would think that the Chinese would also try to take advantage of this as well. What you have to understand is they're all BRICS nations. Russia, Iran, and China. And they're all working together. They're coordinating. And they know that the U.S. can't be everywhere at once. So the goal is to spread the United States as thin as possible. And by spreading the United States as thin as possible, it gives them, right, and India, it gives them the ability to strike and not have to worry about such a retaliation from the United States. Well, no name princess, you have to understand that China is famous for propaganda, and I don't see any problem with ding-a-ling-ping. I see no reason. There's, people are making up a lot of stuff. What you have to understand is China lies. China media lies. They're just like the Russian Pravda. Okay, they lie. They have huge misinformation capabilities. Yeah, China sent 2 Type 55 destroyers to the Iranian waters, and the U.S. said if you point your radars at us or you point your weapons at us, we're going to sink you. So they did send them that message. That was about a week ago. So the U.S. is well aware of the Chinese junk boats that they've got floating around over there, and U.S. Central Command has told them that if you do stupid things, you are going to win stupid prizes. So yeah, well, actually, we need to deal with the Iranians, the Chinese, and the Russians. What the Russians are doing in Ukraine is ridiculous. No, that is not why Forte is there. And Munich is in Germany, not in Poland. So, yeah, what they're looking at is what we've been mapping out for months. All of the positions all along right here. In fact, if you're here on Thursday, I'm sure we're going to be talking about this again on Thursday, as of all of the positions that the Russians and the Belarusians have put in along the border right here. The largest S-400 missile site in the world is right here, with over 274 missiles right here. Or excuse me, 246 missiles right here. There have been some big moves on the Ukrainian front line, and the Russians have been getting Shahed drones. So we continue to see IL-76 flights in and out of Iran. And what's happening is those IL-76s are coming in from Russia. They're bringing attack helicopters in from Russia, and they are trading those attack helicopters for Shahed drones. And so that is why we had the largest attack of Shahed drones ever on Ukraine the other night. They are getting those drones from Iran. Yes, there is continuing buildup of troops, ammunitions, weapon systems near the Baltics, as well as up along the border up here with Finland. In fact, they have opened a new military base that was closed down years and years and years ago. In fact, decades ago, they closed down this military base on the Russian side near Finland. They have now reopened that. So this is very concerning at the least. The EU has already moved troops near the gap. In fact, I don't know how accurate this map is. Hold on, I'm going to need to change it to satellite imagery. So give me a moment. So you look here at the satellite imagery. And when you look here at the satellite imagery along the border, I wish this was a hybrid. Oh, here we go. We have that. So here's the border. Okay. I don't know how new this map is, but we're going to look. So if you look here across the border, if you can't find it on here, that's okay. Yeah, so you can see the dragon's teeth. They're already moving dragon's teeth in to close the border. And if you follow the border across here, you will see that they have already started digging anti-tank ditches along the border here. So they have minefields that they've already started putting in. And I've got better maps of it. I think this map is older and it only shows a little bit. But I've got updated maps that show the minefields that are being added along here with the dragon's teeth. Let me get the other map up for you guys. It's better than this map. Yes, Russia is manufacturing Shahed drones, but in addition to manufacturing Shahed drones, they wanted more to attack Ukraine, so they sold Iran some Mi-25 Dog Shark helicopters. Let me get the KLW World News map up here. That's the best thing to show you. We've got it all on there. We don't know when it's going to happen. We know that the Russians are wanting to make something happen. So the area that the drone is flying is right here. And you can see these are all military installations up and down through here. And they've been moving troops and stuff in. They got troops back over here. They got more missile sites back over here. This is the largest S-400 site in all of Europe. Look at all these missiles. That's one, and you move to the south. And guess what? They got another one down here, and this is a missile manufacturing facility. That's right. I'm saying you need to get your feces consolidated. Now, talking about moving over here. Here we have dragon's teeth. They're putting dragon's teeth along the border. Okay, we move over here. More dragon's teeth stacked up. See that? You move over here. Anti-tank ditch. Dragon's teeth. Minefield. Dragon's teeth. Firing positions. These are trenches that the Polish are putting in. More dragon's teeth. See all of them? More anti-tank ditches. Look at that. Another anti-tank ditch. More anti-tank ditches. And the Poles are working on this every single day. More dragon's teeth. They know that the Russians are building up. And right here, some of their facilities. You see all these red pins here? They know that the Russians are building up over here. That's why they're putting all this. Everywhere that we've identified that the Russians are on the north side, well, guess what? The Poles are putting in more anti-tank ditches. More dragon's teeth. More minefields. This is minefields through here, folks. More dragon's teeth. They're not kidding. You know, this is millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars being spent because they know what's coming. They know what the Russians are doing. They can see them building up. This is the real deal here. So what we're seeing here in real time is nothing short of very concerning. Yes, you're right. In total, it's billions of dollars, not millions. Hold on, I need to get the guys from the other channel to move over here. All right, so do we have any questions from you guys? Let's see what we're seeing here. Let me do that in a real time. So you were saying that that is RDA 1475. So we're going to add that up here. It didn't take it. That's not a drone. But that is a very interesting flight path. Chris, there are multiple ways to track the movements. You can use the Institute for the Study of War. There's numerous maps that you can get. There is just type in Ukraine war maps. There's a dozen of them. The Institute for the Study of War has a really, really good one. That's actually operated by General Jack Keane. We're already seeing the massing. Sprinkleton. We're already seeing the massing of Russian troops and equipment. So you can already see. I mean, if you want to see where the Russians are massing, we can already show you that. We got it mapped out. So we've got Russians massing down here at Brest. So we've got troops building up here. They've got a fuel train here. They've got troops here. They've already filled all these buildings right here with weapons. They've loaded up motor pools over here. They got hundreds of vehicles at these motor pools right here. All these motor pools are full of vehicles. They've got troops here. They've been doing training here. They've stacked up their supply trucks here to help supply the attack. Here's more of their trucks that they've stacked up for that. They've got troops in all these barracks here. They're building more barracks for the troops. They've got a missile battery here. They've got fuel train. If you come along the border, they've been building up. Here's their fuel depot along the border. You come here, they're amassing more staging areas right along the border. And they've put in a bunch of these. See all these staging areas that they've put along the border here? Here's another one. They're spending billions of dollars to get all this ready. They've got a massive training area right here for training troops. You move down here along the border. You got helipads that they've put in right next to the border. You move further down here. You get into Brest. They've built this huge training area and added on to it. They've got another drone runway there. Here is a driver training facility. You move over here. They got staging areas up here. You got more training areas they've moved in down here. Another helipad they put in. 2 more helipads they put in. You come down here to the south. They've put in 2 more helipads right here. Another drone or helicopter takeoff runway here. They have built the ponds here for fording vehicles to be able to check the vehicles to make sure they don't sink before they go across. There's all kinds of stuff that the Russians are building up here along the border. It's extremely obvious what they're moving in. So, very concerning. In fact, while we're here, I want to see something here. Let me go here. No, I need it. Yeah, I got to do it this way. And do it this way. Hey, Jack.
stand by. Lima, Quebec, Whiskey, 2, Delta, November, stand by. Lima, Quebec, Whiskey, 2, Delta, November, stand by. Message follows. Lima, Quebec, Whiskey, 2, Delta, November, Juliet, Kilo, Yankee, Lima, Papa, Romeo, Echo, Zulu, Hotel, Charlie, Charlie, 7, X-ray, Charlie, Kilo, Charlie, Golf, Zulu, Bravo, Delta, 6, 2, Romeo, Charlie, I say again, Lima, Quebec, Whiskey, 2, Delta, November, Juliet, Kilo, Yankee, Lima, Papa, Romeo, Echo, Zulu, Hotel, Charlie, Charlie, 7, X-ray, Charlie, Kilo, Charlie, Golf, Zulu, Bravo, Delta, 6, 2, Romeo, Charlie. This is Sweeties out.
No name. Us watching them has nothing to do with when they will attack. They can attack at any time. They can't continue to keep their troops sitting on the border for that long. They've had troops sitting there since October. They're not going to wait a whole lot longer. All right, good. So we got everybody from the other stream over here. All right, so put your questions in the chat here. Everybody be sure to subscribe to this channel. This is the one you want to be a member of. So go become a member. Link is at the bottom because when all this kicks off, it's going to be members only chat. So sign up. It's like just $3 a month, $4 a month, something like that. It's cheap. It keeps us on the air. It keeps you in the know and keeps you in the chat when it hits the fan. You didn't get any notice. Sent it out over the network, Charlie. I don't know why you didn't get it. Well, see, this is the problem. It's not a matter of how long do I think NATO could hold out against Russia. The problem is how long it would take NATO to respond. So we've done this. We've done the scenarios. Technically, if the Russians do an air assault, they can take the Suwalki Gap in under 15 minutes. And they can hold it. They can take it and hold it in under 15 minutes. And continue to pour troops into it. So, can Russia, Belarus, and Kaliningrad take the Suwalki Gap? Bet your life on it. What's the percentage of them successfully doing that overnight? Unless something totally catastrophic, insane happens to them from Kaliningrad and from Belarus, basically 100%. There should be absolutely positively no reason that they can't take the Suwalki Gap with the forces that they have in place. So that being said, if they can take the Suwalki Gap, what's NATO going to do about it? Well, the problem is NATO isn't going to do anything for 4 days. See, herein lies the problem. The NATO is a big organization, and just like anything big, it moves slow. So by the time, yes, Owen, drop Rumble and move to YouTube. By the time NATO responds and NATO gets troops moving, it's 3 to 4 days. Yes, the Suwalki Gap is in northeast Poland. Let me show this to you. So this is the Suwalki Gap right here. Google Earth crashed on me, sorry. I can show you here in the meantime. So this is the Suwalki Gap right here, from here to here. It's only 40 miles across there. Okay, the way the crow flies. This is Kaliningrad. They've got over 100,000 troops built up over here. This is Belarus. They have hundreds of thousands, over 400,000 troops built up over here. Technically, there are enough troops here and enough troops here that they can stand side by side and hold hands and cover that thing. Imagine that. So there's absolutely no reason why they can't take this. No reason at all. Because it's a very small area. So if they come in from the Belarus side, from the Kaliningrad side, and they come in from the Belarus side, there's no reason they can't take this. It's very, very, very sparsely populated. It's open farmland. Pretty much indefensible by NATO. So NATO knows it, and in fact, Poland has even moved their troops back. They used to have troops right on the gap. They have moved them back because they don't want to lose those troops if the Russians decide to take it. So the Poles have already moved their troops back. And there's nobody there. And the Russians have already tried, screwing around with it. And, look at all the stuff they got. They've got troops here. They've got troops here. They've got stuff here. They've got a massive training area right here. They've got bunkers full of weapons down here. Troops in here. They've got so many troops running through here. Now all the grass is worn out of these places. They've upgraded this range right here. Put new roads in. Put new buildings in. They've put in new helipads. Where is it? They put in 4 new helipads here. They've put in new helipads over here. There's 2 more helipads here. They put in a helipad here. So, they've put helipads all over this place. They've cut roads from the training area all the way up here to the border. Look at that. So this is coming out of the training area. They got a dirt road cut in that leads them right up here to the border. And they've got a trail cut through the woods right here to the border. So they can drive their tanks right up through the woods, and they come right out through the woods right here into Lithuania. So they've already set it up to do it. They've got tractor trailers lined up on the roads over here. They've built up the military base right here. S-400 missile launchers at the northeast end of the facility. S-400 missile launchers at the south end of the facility. They've upgraded their fuel storage area here, which is right here. More distributed fuel here. Look at all the new fuel trucks that they've moved in. They've got fighter jets sitting in here now. See here? Fighter jets over here. They got more fighter jets over here. Fighter jets setting out over here. Fighter jets setting out over here. They've built up this. This is the really concerning part over here. The Russians said that they were closing this military base. Yeah, well, they spent $200 million pouring concrete. And look at all the fighter jets they got lined up over here now. Yeah. They keep stacking them up. More and more and more. Every time you look at it, there's more fighter jets there. They've built these new nuclear bunkers over here. These bunkers are for nuclear weapons. Look at all these bunkers. And you want to see how big they are? These are tractor trailers. That's one bunker. Look at how big they are. And there's 38 of these. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of missiles. They've put S-400 sites down here along the border. Here's S-400 sites, radars. There's another S-400 site, another S-400 site, another S-400 site. You got training areas down here. It's a huge buildup of troops. But that's how the Russians operate. That's their modus operandi. No, there are no deterrents. Correct. The last time I was worried about this, and I told you the Ukrainians were going to get invaded, and they did. The Russians are building up stuff. I'm not telling you that the Russians are going to invade in 2 days. Like I did with Ukraine, I'm telling you that the Russians are building up equipment to invade. They're jamming. Yeah, that's anybody that says that the this is because of NATO is a Russian shill. You know, my response to anybody that says that this is because of NATO is, since the creation of NATO, how many countries has NATO invaded and how many countries has Russia invaded? What are we waiting for? NATO is a defensive organization. It's not an offensive organization. Welcome, Redneck. Russia has invaded more than 2 countries since the creation of NATO. Well, it's real simple. Russia has fought on multiple fronts at one time, and Ukraine is a testing ground for new Russian weapons. That's what Russia is using Ukraine for. And Russia this is a great thing for Putin. You see, there are people in Russia, ethnicities of Russians that Putin doesn't like. And so what Putin is doing is all of the ethnicities in Russia that Putin doesn't like, Putin is doing drafts there and is calling up troops from there. So it's ethnic cleansing in Russia for Putin. So he's getting rid of the people that he doesn't want, and he's getting rid of prisoners from inside prisons. He's any place that is not profitable in Russia, that's where Russia is pulling the troops from. And you can look at that. It's proportional that the provinces, the groups, the villages, whatever you want to call it in Russia, that Putin doesn't like, that's where he's pulling Russian troops from. Yeah, this is the right one. You're here. So, yeah, the Russians, they like this. Putin does. Putin thinks this is great. This is his way of doing ethnic cleansing and being able to get rid of the Russians he doesn't want. And Russia's going to keep doing this. You know, that's the other thing. Russia is getting troops out of South Africa and South America. And he promises them the world. He puts them on a plane. He flies them to the battle zone. He then tells them to march into the battle. The Ukrainians have to waste time and money killing them, and Putin doesn't pay them. There are tens of thousands of people that Russia has recruited into their military and never paid their family. Also, the Russians won't pay a death benefit unless the body is recovered. So what is Russia doing? They're leaving them in place and not recovering them. And since they're leaving them in place and not recovering them, they don't have to pay the death benefit to the family. Yeah, the Chinese and the Russians have a plan to attack the West in 2027. Yeah, Russia has a huge population, so they don't mind their population getting killed off. You know, Putin's one of those that says, for us to survive, some of you have to die, and that's something that I'm willing to live with. It doesn't matter. They're bringing people in from other countries, and there's millions and millions and millions of Russians, so they don't care. I think China is going to do more than invade Taiwan. It looks like China is setting up to attack South Korea and Japan at the same time. They moved 1,400 military vehicles to the Yellow Sea across from Japan. So that's pretty concerning. Hey, Jack. All right, you guys got questions? Thank you, No Name. Welcome aboard. What is the new link? I'm not familiar with what you're talking about. Yes, Danny in Germany, that is absolutely correct. In fact, I think we're closer to World War III than a lot of people think. I don't trust anything the UN does. So you have to be concerned about that. Let me see if I can get something on that. Tell me about UN Article 42.7.
Article 42.7 of the UN Charter. That's from Chapter 7, the bit on action when peace is threatened. It basically says, if the Security Council thinks non-violent steps won't cut it, like sanctions or talks, they can greenlight military force to restore stability. Shall be taken such action as may be necessary, right? It's the legal backbone for interventions, but it's super rare in practice. Needs all 5 permanent members on board, veto proof. Think Gulf War vibes, not everyday stuff.
Okay, so who are the ones that have to approve? You said all 5. Who are they?
The 5 permanent members of the Security Council: United States, Russia, China, France, and Britain. Their veto's the real gatekeeper. One no, and it's dead.
So Russia is not going to approve the UN going into Ukraine, and neither is China.
Exactly. With Russia actively in the fray, they'll veto anything that looks like boots on ground against them. Article 42's dead on arrival. China'd likely tag along, not wanting precedent for Taiwan. So unless it's a total regime flip or something, UN muscle stays parked.
So this whole thing about 42.7 is nothing more than a waste of time and breath and a bunch of hoopla over nothing, because it'll never pass.
Pretty much. It's like having a fire alarm that needs 5 people to flip the switch. One's already burning the house down. Useless in real emergencies. Still, folks love waving it around for optics. Doesn't change the math, though.
Okay, basically, the fire alarm, 2 of the guys flipping a switch are arsonists.
Yeah, that's even worse. Arsonists with vetoes. One wants the blaze, the other's just waiting to see who benefits. Either way, the alarms are dud.
So 42.7 is a joke.
Essentially, yes. It's a grand idea on paper, grandstanding for diplomats. In practice, laughable. The moment you'd actually need it, the folks with the keys refuse to turn.
Well, if you don't think Russia and China would attack the United States, you just keep believing that. A lot of people didn't believe that Russia would attack a bunch of other countries. A lot of people didn't believe that Germany would start World War I or World War II. So, are you familiar with the new Russian doctrine that says that they can preemptively use nuclear weapons?
Yeah, I've got the latest on that Russian nuclear doctrine shift. Yeah, I'm up to speed on it. The big shift came in late 2024, when Putin signed the updated Basic Principles of State Policy of the Russian Federation on nuclear deterrence on November 19th. It lowers the bar for nuclear use compared to the 2020 version. Russia still says nuclear weapons are mainly for deterrence, but now they can respond with nukes to a conventional attack if it's seen as creating a critical threat to Russia's sovereignty or territorial integrity, or even Belarus as part of their union state. That opens the door to what looks like first use or preemptive strikes in certain scenarios. Think if they get reliable intelligence of an incoming massive conventional aerospace attack, missiles, drones, hypersonics, crossing the border. It's not outright we'll nuke first no matter what, but it's way more permissive than before, especially with NATO's long-range strikes on Russian soil in mind. Analysts call it a move toward offensive deterrence and intimidation. Here's Putin signing off on the update. Classic, serious moment. And another shot of him at the desk with the documents to show what it backs up. Those massive ICBMs on parade, ready if things escalate. No major rewrites since then, even with New START expiring just days ago on February 5th. No new doctrine tweaks tied to that yet. But yeah, it's got everyone watching closer.
So technically, what Putin did in 2024 here, we're talking just a little over a year ago, right? How many months ago was this?
15 months ago.
Okay.
Signed on November 9th.
So 15 months ago, Putin signed a document that if Russia perceives the threat, correct?
Yes. If Russia perceives or claims to perceive a massive incoming attack that threatens its very existence, like hypersonic missiles barreling in, they can now legally launch nukes first. Doesn't need confirmation, doesn't need UN nod, just their word against the ashes. And with New START gone, no caps on warheads anymore. It's all posture and brinkmanship.
So a perceived threat, that doesn't have to be missiles in the air. If NATO were to build up troops along the border, that's a perceived threat, isn't it?
According to that doctrine, no. It's not an automatic trigger. The wording's clear. Needs to be a massive attack underway, not just build up. Troop movements alone, they'd call it provocation, sure. But nukes over that would look insane, even to them. But that's the slippery bit. Perception's in Moscow's hands. If they spin it as imminent assault, pair it with intel leaks or false flags, then yeah, they could stretch it.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. If they perceive it as an imminent threat, troops built up on the border, somebody fires a round, the Russians set off a false flag, the next thing you know, Russian nukes can be flying. And under that document, that looks legal to me.
Yeah, that's the scary part. If they cook up a narrative, say, NATO troops massing look like invasion prep, toss in a staged explosion blamed on the West, then claim imminent aerospace strike incoming. Boom, the doctrine kicks in. It's all subjective, no referee. And since there's no verification clause, no hotline left after start, it's whoever yells loudest wins. Legally, in their courts, sure. Morally, strategically, total roulette.
If you just signed up as a VIP, give us 12 to 24 hours. Keep checking your email and your spams for an email from ES Chat. And when you get that, sign on to the network. And when you sign on, make sure that your GPS is turned on and accurate in precision mode. That way you're part of the safety net and you'll be part of the network. So welcome aboard. All right, so
yeah?
Are you familiar with the dragon's teeth on the Polish border that the Poles are putting up to protect from Russians invading into Poland?
Yeah. Checking on those dragon's teeth in Poland.
This isn't Jack. This is Leo.
Yeah, those dragon's teeth are real. Poland's been stacking them up big time under the Eastern Shield program. It's a massive defensive line, about 700 kilometers long, hugging the borders with Belarus and Russia's Kaliningrad exclave, including right around the Suwalki Gap. They started ramping it in 2025 with concrete pyramids, the classic dragon's teeth, anti-tank ditches, trenches, hedgehogs, and even drone countermeasures. Latest updates from January 2026 show they've got storage sites everywhere, one per border municipality, so they can deploy fast if things heat up. It's all about slowing down any armored push, buying time for NATO to respond. Here's a ground shot of them lined up in the snow, rows of those pyramid blocks with metal loops for chaining. And another angle, stretching across open fields, makes it hard for tanks to just roll through. From satellite view near Kaliningrad, see the Dragon's Teeth clustered with ditches and trenches, right on the edge. It's not just symbolic, it's Ukraine-inspired but layered with modern tech. Poland's spending billions to make invasion expensive and slow. You tracking any specific spots on ADSB or maps?
Oh, we've got several spots that we're tracking along the border. It's visible from space. They do an anti-tank ditch followed by rows of Dragon's Teeth, 3 rows of Dragon's Teeth, and then they had an open area where they mine it, and then they have 3 more rows of Dragon's Teeth, and then they have trenches on the Polish side. So it starts out with the Polish Kaliningrad border. You come across the border, then you have a large anti-tank ditch filled with water, with the berm on the south side of that, so is that they have to try to climb up out of the ditch. And the great part about that is when the tank tries to climb up out of the ditch, the front part of the tank comes up over the top of the ditch, and then 50 cal rounds can be fired straight up through the belly of the tank. That's why you want it to be that way. Plus, it's hard for them to climb out of the mud because it's soft dirt on this side. And then when they do come up, then they've got 3 rows of Dragon's Teeth, and then they have, and I'm going to measure it here for you, then they have basically 475 feet of minefield, and then after the 475 feet of minefield, they have 3 more rows. So it's tank ditch, the berm, 3 rows of Dragon's Teeth, 475 feet of minefield, then 3 more rows of Dragon's Teeth, and then about another 400 feet away, they have trenches to fire on the tanks.
Yeah, that's a solid kill zone. Ditch slows them, berm exposes the belly. Perfect for 50 cals or 80 GMs, straight through the thinner armor. Then Dragon's Teeth pin them down, while mines chew up the tracks. 475 feet. That's like 145 meters, give or take. Long enough that if a tank survives the first layer, it crawls right into the second wave, already limping. And those trenches 400 feet back? Safe firing line for javelins, mortars, drones, whatever. Classic Soviet doctrine flipped on itself. They're not trying to stop a full assault, just bleed it dry till reserves arrive. Smart, grim, and very Eastern European.
So we've had an RQ-4B flying around the Suwalki Gap area and this is just south of the Suwalki Gap, west of the S-400 missile sites in Hradna. And they've been there for almost 30 hours. This is a very unusual pattern. They've went out to the west looking at Kaliningrad, and they've went up through the Suwalki Gap, north through Lithuania, looking at Kaliningrad and the Belarusian border. What do you make of that?
Got it. That's a long, unusual orbit pattern. Yeah, 30 hours airborne is pushing even the Global Hawk's limits. It's built for 30 plus, but doing it in tight, repeated sweeps like that? Super unusual. Normally, these birds do big, lazy loops over broader areas like the Black Sea or Baltic Sea for general overwatch. But this pattern, west toward Kaliningrad, then north through the gap into Lithuania, back and forth, eyeing both the Russian exclave
and the Belarus border screams focused, real-time monitoring. With those dragon's teeth and fortifications fresh along the Polish side, plus any Russian exercises or troop shifts in Kaliningrad or Belarus lately, they're probably hunting for signs of movement, armor staging, S-400 activations, or even hybrid stuff like drone incursions. The gap's the choke point. If Russia wants to link Kaliningrad to Belarus and cut off the Baltics, that's the spot. This close in orbit, almost hugging the airspace without crossing, is classic "we see you" deterrence. No public reports of a crisis today, but the endurance and the path say the Pentagon's worried enough to burn fuel and keep eyes glued 24/7. Here's a clear map of the Suwalki Gap. See how it's this skinny, 65-kilometer strip between Kaliningrad and Belarus, with Poland and Lithuania on the NATO side. And another zoomed-in political map. Kaliningrad orange, Gap in red, Belarus below. For the bird itself, high up at 50,000 feet, silent, staring down with synthetic aperture radar that can spot a tank from way out. And a screenshot example of a typical 4010 track over the region, similar to what you're seeing, but this one's older. Yours is way more confined. If it's still looping at this hour, could mean handover soon, or they're waiting on something specific. You got altitude holding steady, or any heading changes?
Miranda, are you a VIP on the KLW World News Network? You have the app on your phone? You should never cancel that. If you're a VIP on the Coffee Club, you can keep that, but I would subscribe here on YouTube so you get notifications. So yeah, be on the network for sure. Then stay there. If you're a VIP on the network, stay on the network. That's the best place to be. That's the number one place to be. We have a lot of people sign up here lately too, so welcome aboard to all of the new people. We've had like 20 or 30 new people here in just the last week, so welcome. Yes, Forte 10 is returning. Well, they've been there since yesterday, so, you know, they can only fly for 30 hours. So it's still going to take them some time to get back home. But this is a big deal. So is this down here. You know, they don't want to tell you how much stuff is going on down here. This is the problem. You know, they're not telling you what's going on. They're not telling you what's going on in Cuba. They're not telling you what's going on in Venezuela. They're not showing you what's taking place, you know, over here in Poland. There's a lot of things that they aren't showing you. That's correct. Fecal matter is preparing to impact the air handling device, and we're seeing that everywhere we look. It appears as though fecal matter be motivating. Or feces occurs. Or in layman's terms, shit happens. Or a fecal occurrence. Oh, All right, I'm back. So, yeah, if you're posting news in our chat, you have to tell us who the source is. That's how we verify it. All right, thank you. So, and just so you guys know, the way we do things here at KLW World News is we're real news in real time with no bullshit. And the way we do that is we verify everything before we say it. So most news organizations, specifically a lot on the internet, won't do any of that. They will just repeat, parrot anything they hear. Doesn't matter if it's a lie or made up or propaganda or whatever it is. We don't work that way. We got to verify it. And so we verify everything before we say anything. So help us in doing that by bringing us news, but bring the source. So we don't use World War III Monitor as a source. We don't use DEFCON page as a source. We don't use Intimidator or who is it? What the hell's that guy's name? Foreskin. Shit, I can't even think of what his name is now. The Enforcer. We don't use the Enforcer as a source. There's a lot of people that we don't use as sources because they don't know what they're talking about, or they are famous for putting out misinformation. Just smile and wave. You have no idea what you're talking about. This has absolutely nothing to do with Trump. What Russia and China and Iran are doing is of their own choosing and has been planned for longer than Trump has been in office. This is all part of the BRICS strategy. So go back and look at when BRICS was created. They've all been planning this same plan. They don't give a shit who's in office in Washington, D.C. That's their plan. Yeah, no Fulmer either. We don't do Fulmer. If it weren't for Fulmer's ability to Google stuff, he wouldn't know anything at all. Well, what's going on is we've got a lot of ISR, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance up around the Savalki Gap, over top of Venezuela, north of Venezuela, and we've had a P-8 flying the Strait of Hormuz all night, pretty much. Yeah, and Scott Ritter is a bullshitter. He's a two-time convicted pedophile. No, Russia's not waiting. Russia's building up, and Russia has a plan. And it could be that they are doing that. We don't know. And we try to stay away from naming other streamers, but I had to give some examples of folks who put out misinformation or have no idea what they're talking about. And that's the crazy part about it. Most of the people who talk about what's going on have no idea what's going on. Welcome, Games. Thanks for joining. Actually, thanks for giving up memberships. That's a good thing. Correct. McGregor is in the same way. McGregor is an honorary field marshal with the Russians. There's more jamming. And that's a chirp when it pings like that. That's a more advanced over the horizon radar. That chirp that you're hearing there gives a more detailed picture of the aircraft than just a standard buzz that you hear. A lot of times you'll hear that's an older over the horizon radar. What you heard there is the newer over the horizon radar. No worries. You need to join the network, Danny. Are you in Germany? Then you need to join the network, buddy. Go to klwworldnews.com and get signed up. That way when it hits the fan, you can get notified first, even if you're not on the internet. So go get signed up. You need to be on the network. We're encouraging all of our friends over there to get signed up. Yeah, it's not a good time right now. I don't tell people to get off my lawn. I have other ways of dealing with people in my lawn. Now they're fertilizer on my lawn. Yeah, so Danny, go to klwworldnews.com and sign up there, VIP. Get signed up. We've got more people over there signing up. We got people in Poland now signing up, people in the Baltics. Yeah, and we're working on making KLW World News tactical socks publicly available. There may be some ITAR restrictions on sending them out of the country, but we're working on getting KLW World News tactical socks. If you wear them for a week straight, they are lethal within themselves. If you wear them for 2 weeks, they will stand on their own. So KLW World News tactical socks, they are the absolute only way to go. So again, we are doing research to see if we can have some more of those made. And yes, we can do shirts. You want an embroidered shirt? Is that what you're saying, Mother? Or you want a shirt like I got on? Hold on. We got to... Let me go get one. Sorry. So this is a KLW World News t-shirt. We have these in short sleeve. We have these in long sleeve. It's got KLW World News on the front. It's got KLW World News on the back. Now, the crazy part about it is because we have an iron-on the front here and an iron-on the back, and we can get these in short sleeve or long sleeve, these shirts are $50. It costs us $50 to have these shirts made because it's got the big multicolor iron-on the back and big multicolored iron on the front. So this is the shirt. So this is $50. For $57, I have these made. And this has KLW World News embroidered on it. These are nice polo shirts. Now I have, I don't know, several dozen of these. I have blue ones like this. I have white ones like this. And I got black ones like this. And I think I've got like 10 of each. So 30. I've got 30 of these, including this one. So those are the shirts we got. And depending upon how warm it is outside, depends upon what color I wear. So if it's a hot day, I wear a white one. If it's a cold day, I wear a black one. And if it's in between, I wear a blue one. That's how you can tell the weather here at KLW World News by what color shirt I got on. So yeah, I like the black one. The black one's my favorite one. All right, so how did that plane get to Moldova? That's spoofing there. Also, you can see that the U.S. is worried about the Moldova-Ukrainian border. See how they cut the angle here and they cut the angle here so they can see the whole border there? So, everybody needs to refresh so they get up to speed here. Some of you guys are behind. Fuck Blevins. I would say Blevins can blow me, but he'd probably like it too much. And from what I hear, he swallows. Yeah, he claims he has great oral capability. His oral skills are above and beyond. What is the picture on the lower right side? That's not a picture. That's a map of Russian positions. And there's nobody else that has these maps either. Gary, do you know Andrew? Oh, okay. No, he's got oral skills. He could have anal skills too. Well, I haven't picked on the Blevins in a long time. So, I mean, they're actually kind of a waste of time. In fact, we've even had AI evaluate their news, and AI even says that they ain't worth a shit. Yeah, use Chrome browser and just go there and click on each one. Thank you, KC. I need a couple dozen people like KC. There are 100 people like KC. Hell, I wish all my followers were like KC. Thank you, Sands. Thank you, Deborah. Appreciate it. There you go, Jackal. Isn't it great to be part of the family? Thank you. Appreciate it, Golden. What is my source for the Russia-China attack on the U.S.? It's real simple. It's a leaked document from China. Howard Sutton, you need to bring that up during a roundtable on the KLW World News Network. You made up what, Gary? I didn't catch what you made up. Yeah, thank you, Deborah and Golden. Greatly appreciate it. Everybody needs to become a member here. That includes you, Gary. Anytime, OTISJR. Look at that. Patel giving out memberships. Woohoo! Thank you, Signal. You can't beat it. We got the best members out there, period. Hang around, Moo Moo. You'll get a membership. Our members buy a lot of memberships for other people. There we go. Thank you. Appreciate it, Vigilance. Well, you got one today, NASA. That way you can get one next week yourself or next month. Save your money. Join up. It's well worth it. We got the news nobody else does. Real news in real time with no BS. Thank you, Deborah. See there, look at that. 5 more memberships. Who's your daddy now?
Wow, man.
Uh-huh. I told you. Ain't nobody got members like KLW. There's no other channel that you can go to. Look at there. Mother gave 10 more out.
Wow, man.
I mean it.
Wow, man. Fascinating.
There's no other network you can go to on YouTube that gives away as many free memberships as KLW World News to other people. Yeah, we got news on Iran. Iran is playing a game of FAFO. They have continued to FA. They are about to FO. So thank you, Mother. The Iranians are continuing to prepare for war against Israel and the U.S. And so the longer that they FA, the more that they will FO. Oh, come on, Eternal. Welcome, Woodchuck. That's correct. That's because they're willing to pay for good quality news. That's why they're buying memberships for other members here, Prepper. Actually, the Iranian allies haven't been very... none of them did anything to help Iran during the 12-day war. Iran got pounded like an Iranian goat's ass for the 12-day war, and none of their allies did anything to them. Yes, there have been over 112 flights in total. There was somebody reporting the other day that there were 100 flights in a single day. That is a lie. There were not 100 flights in a single day. There were 100 flights over about 12 days. All right, appreciate that, Charlie. You just keep hanging on, Jackal. You'll get one eventually. Yes, you're correct. New York is getting taken over by Islamics. I think we should just blow the bridges and leave them be. No, it's Fat Man now. I used to be Batman. Now I'm Fat Man. You've heard it. Na 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 na. Fat Man. Howdy, Mr. Anderson. Well, they won't let us play the spy music anymore because they claim it's copyrighted, even though it says it's copyright free. Bunny picture, you want to see the bunnies? Well, you have to give me a minute. There you go, bunnies. Yeah, let me some bunnies. I use a torch on my car door anytime that the lock is frozen. You heat up the key and you heat up the outside of the lock. You can actually use, if it's not real cold, I mean, it was really cold that night. It was like 6 degrees. So, but you can actually use a Bic lighter and light and heat the key and stick it in and turn it, and heat the key and stick it in and turn it. My problem was I didn't have a jacket and I didn't have time to stand there and fuck with it at 6 degrees. So I take a torch and I heat the outside and I heat the key and do it that way. I only had to do it twice to get in. Oh, here comes the contractor. You could say that it would only come after hitting Iran, but you can't say that for sure. And I try not to speculate. What? Ann said I sent a message that YouTube takes the fun out and a banner popped up in gray saying invalid statement. Wow. I didn't see that. I didn't see any banner that said YouTube sucks ass. Maybe everybody should get one of those. And you can spell sucks, S-U-X. You just put U-boob sucks a big one. Or screw tube. T-O-O-B-E. That's right, U-boob. Iran weather this week should be hot. With
Bomb, 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 Iran. Bomb, 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 Iran.
All right, what other questions we got here? All right, well, just so you guys are aware, I've got a couple things I've got to do. It is supposed to rain tomorrow. And so because of that, I have to go fix something in my driveway because I can't have rain flowing through it. So I will be back. Probably it's going to take me about 10 minutes to do this. So I'm going to be back in about 10 minutes. So give me 10 minutes. I will be right back to get this done. It won't take long. It's going to take longer to get the excavator there and get the excavator back than it will to do the work. So 10 minutes, 15 minutes maybe. Won't be long. I'll be back. Hang tight. Where are we? We are watching massive surveillance taking place in the Baltic, in the Caribbean, and in the Strait of Hormuz. And see, that's how I am convinced that Iranians use cattle for prostitution. Remember, the whore moves. Oh, I ain't got to worry about it. I'm on my property and my wife's out there, so we're good to go. I thought it was funny the other day. The judge from the county showed up to talk to me, and I met him at the door with a 45. All right, I'm back. I don't know how long that took, but I got done. So yeah, I don't know how long that took, but I got it done. The problem is where we have the studio, we're not on a public road. So there is a public road that runs by the main gate, but the main gate isn't ours. The main gate belongs to the facility that we have property in. And so the main gate comes in, you drive down that road, which is private property, and we have an easement right of way, and then the driveway to the studio comes off of that road. So I have to maintain the road out to the main road, or excuse me, I have to maintain our driveway to the main road, and then I maintain a ditch along the main road that's on our property, and then it goes out to the public road. And when the county comes along and does work out there, the way they grade, they always leave a dip, and it fills up with water and turns into a giant mud hole. So every time the county comes and does road work, I have to go out with an excavator and fix the bullshit that they did. So that's what I was doing, was fixing their bullshit once again. So let's see what else we got going on here in the world. I thought about going up to Dallas doing the protest, but it's just kids at a high school. It's nothing big. So it wasn't worth the gas to drive up there.
Judicial Watch was able to, thanks to finally the cooperation of the Trump Justice Department, able to obtain the list or rosters of key employees who were working for Jack Smith. We have been fighting for years over this. We got a phone, we asked for the records. Long story short is we got a phone list, or a phone list was disclosed as being available, of people who were working for Jack Smith. We said, give us that phone list. That's a pretty good list of people that we can use to figure out who was doing what for Jack Smith in terms of who they are. And once you know who they are, you can see if there are issues related to their involvement that's inappropriate given their backgrounds. The Biden administration refused to give us the list, saying it was a phone list was compiled for law enforcement purposes. Unfortunately, a court agreed with them, so we appealed. And the Trump Justice Department correctly determined that maybe it's not a good idea to defend the privacy interests of the Jack Smith gang, pretending that we can't find out who Jack Smith had working for him in senior positions as he was trying to jail President Trump and countless others, harassing them, targeting senators and congressmen with spying on their phone activity and things like that, harassing me. Of course, I knew who some of the prosecutors were because I had 3 of them question me, believe it or not, in a grand jury. Although to be fair, I forget their names. I do remember one of the names. So they decided to give us the records. And so this is the first official list of records showing who was working for Jack Smith. Is it the complete list? No, it is not. But no one else has gotten the list of people working for Jack Smith officially. And Judicial Watch has. Thank you to Pam Bondi and her team for seeing reason and agreeing to this transparency. And this is what the list, let me go to the press release here. So we had asked for staff rosters, phone lists, or similar records depicting all employees hired by or detailed to the Office of Special Counsel Jack Smith. Now, the government always comes back and say, oh, we can't tell you the poor FBI agents who are working for us or the assistants and the researchers. I'm like, well, we don't want the assistants or researchers. I don't think the FBI agents should be withheld from us. But, I think the courts have kind of moved on from that. They've decided the FBI has special protections no other agency does, certainly at the law enforcement level. But they said that top government officials who were working for Smith, they had privacy interests. And like I said, this was a law enforcement sensitive document. So we got the document. And here's the unredacted document, or excuse me, partly redacted document. This is what it looks like. Let's bring it up. Okay, so this first group, these are the FBI people on the phone list. So all of the B6 is B7C. Those are codes for privacy, and that's the reason they're being withheld. And here's the other material that has finally been released. This is the list of names, some of whom we know, like Joseph Cooney, Jay Bratt. So a few of these names we figured out from court filings, but some we didn't. So this is a more complete list of those who were working for Jack Smith. I think there's more material to be released. We may be pursuing more material, but it's a significant victory. And it's a shame that it took, I don't know how long it took. Let's see, when did we file the lawsuit? Yeah, we filed it in 2023. And it took almost, I think we got this maybe in December. So it took almost a year to get the records out of the Trump administration. But we got them. Given the records that are being withheld, we'll take anything we get because don't get me started about what's still being withheld. And the thing is, we had received, similar information without the bric-a-brac from the Mueller operation. We had gotten names of the people who were working there, showing overwhelmingly that that the team was leftist and Democrat and anti-Trump in orientation. But then we asked for records about Jack Smith, and we're told that a senior prosecutor has a privacy interest in trying to jail the president, and their name shouldn't be disclosed. Raiding the home of a president, stealing his Twitter information. Oh, yeah, through court process, so it's not technically stealing. Think of that. Judicial Watch overcame a wall of resistance. We pushed through the stone wall to get the names of the attorneys helping rogue prosecutor Jack Smith in his attempt to upend our republic. We are pleased that the Bondi Justice Department finally stopped defending the indefensible. It took a while to get them to stop. and turned over these rosters to to Judicial Watch and the American people. So you can take a look at the names, you can research their giving and their history, and but it's information. I don't want to condemn anyone there, but there's going to be more information coming out about these individuals, and in a way that I think is going to highlight how abusive the Jack Smith operation was. And as I said, we still have many pending FOIA lawsuits and requests about the lawfare targeting Trump. Arctic Frost, which is the name given the initial investigation, outrageously targeting Trump for non-crimes. The Jack Smith operation that followed. All sorts of other lawsuits as well. And we're just getting the runaround from the Justice Department and the FBI. And it's really not acceptable. I can say it's not acceptable, but that doesn't get me the documents. But we don't just complain. We are in court fighting for the information. So at least they're being held accountable for hiding the records in court, but it would be better just to get the records directly. If they spend as much energy, or even a tenth of the energy, or even a 1% of the energy, disclosing records through FOIA on these issues, that they are, we'd be a lot better off as a country, and I think there'd be much more significant accountability results, because if the people know what went on and how awful it was, there would be more political movement and pressure for full accountability through prosecution. Don't you agree? I mean, look at everything we're doing here. This is it's worth highlighting. I kind of said it generally. We sued the Justice Department regarding the FBI's Public Corruption Unit's investigation of Donald Trump, called Arctic Frost. Just last month, we sued the Justice Department for FBI agents harassing Peter Navarro. Sued the Justice Department for FBI records about a top FBI official's communications with a left-wing front group that was helping organize the prosecutorial efforts targeting Trump. Another lawsuit for Arctic Frost. We sued in Arizona for Chris Mays, who's the Attorney General, her communications with the Jack Smith operation, because we believe there was coordination between the Justice Department, Jack Smith, and the various left-wing prosecutors who are abusing their offices to target Americans for daring to dispute the election. And then misconduct allegations against Smith and his team. We asked for records there. And then, of course, we still have an ongoing fight with Fani Willis. We've been successful in part, but still we're pushing to get records released that they're still hiding, despite the case being completely over. There's literally no one in town doing more to uncover the lawfare abuses targeting Trump than Judicial Watch. And yes, I include Congress in that regard. So great victory for the rule of law here, and hopefully we'll get more.
I don't think they're following what the shadow government wants to do. If they were following what the shadow government wanted to do, they wouldn't be deporting people. They wouldn't be investigating voter fraud. There's a lot of things that this administration is doing that the shadow government doesn't like, especially getting rid of all of the OES, Office of Executive Service, people that were held over from the Obama administration and from the Biden administration.
So the U.S. government is now doing a lot of things that the deep state doesn't like. That's why we're seeing such pushback. They're investigating the fraud in Minnesota. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Hell, the previous administration had the Epstein files and nobody released them. The administration before that, which was Trump, had the Epstein files and nobody released them. The Obama administration had the Epstein files and didn't release them. Yet everybody's pissed off about Trump releasing them and releasing them slowly. At least he's releasing them. The U.S. government has had these files for almost 20 years. And now they're pissed off because Trump isn't releasing them as fast as he could, or as fast as the government will allow. Again, the previous administrations didn't release them. Nobody said a fucking thing then. Wonder why that is. Why didn't anybody say anything when Obama had them? Why didn't anybody say anything when Biden had them? Oh, moo moo, you ain't telling us nothing. Well, he's doing more than the previous administrations have done, so you at least got to give him credit for that. I'm not thrilled about what he's doing with Ukraine, but I just call it as I see it. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not an independent. I hate all of them. So people that think I'm MAGA or a Democrat, they have no fucking clue. Well, I'm waiting for my lunch to show up, so I'm going to stay with you guys until it gets here. Yeah, roger that. Nobody's perfect, and of course, Trump is far from it. But he's a hell of a lot better than the alternative. Yeah, I don't take sides. I hate them all. Yeah, well, if you can get him to run for president, we'd vote for him. You know, a lot of people have said they'd vote for me. In fact, if you had checked ChatGPT, when ChatGPT first came out, it said that I ran for president in 2020. I thought that was interesting because the Secret Service never gave me a protective detail, and I didn't get to do any campaigning. So I thought it was interesting that it didn't tell me that I ran for president until after the election was over.
What the fuck?
Wow, man. Fascinating.
All right, folks, we're going to end this broadcast because we have no other than the one, the only Jimmy from Brooklyn. He's going to be going live with us here in just a couple of minutes. So we're going to end this stream. We're going to bring in Jimmy from Brooklyn. So give me 5 minutes. I'm going to reboot the server, all that, and we're going to come right back with the one, the only Jimmy from Brooklyn. He's got some breaking news, folks, about what's going on, so you're going to want to be here in 5 minutes. So be sure you are subscribed to this channel so you will get the notification coming up here in just a couple of minutes. We are bringing in, again, the one, the only Jimmy from Brooklyn. We'll be right back.
That's all, folks.